Hello. In this video, I would like to show you some concepts that you have done in intermediate algebra that I would like you to know for college algebra. First off is to divide and simplify. Now remember, when you divide rational expressions, you want to multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction, which I have shown you in this step here. Now, each particular step I want to be able to factor. So let's take a look at the numerator of the first fraction. Okay. So now I write okay. Now remember, I want to be able to find what? Factors of 18 whose sum is -9. Well, that is -6 and -3. So I know this is going to factor as x minus 6 and x minus 3. Okay. The denominator of the first fraction is a difference of two squares. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 9 is 3, and 3. Now remember, with a difference of two squares, one's positive, the other one's negative. Okay. All right, now let's take a look at the fraction, second fraction, its numerator. Okay. So I'm going to rewrite that here. Now, most students like the factor by grouping method. Well, what does that mean? I'm going to take the constant times the leading coefficients. I want factors of -6 whose sum is the linear or middle term here, which is +5. Well, we know that's 6 and -1 because they add up to be 5. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to replace the 5x with the 6x minus x. But notice everything else stays the same. So now I'm going to group them. Okay. I can take a GCF out of 2x here. I'm left with x plus 3. Now, notice the last two terms are both negative. I'm going to factor out a -1. That leaves me with x plus 3. Now, take the GCF again. That's going to be x plus 3 because this and this both have an x plus 3 in common times what's left, 2x minus 1. Again, you can always check this by multiplying. Okay. On the bottom, I want to factor out a GCF, which is x. That leaves me with 2x minus 1. Now, from here, I should be able to divide out common factors. So I can divide out an x minus 3, a 2x minus 1, and an x plus 3. That leaves me with x minus 6 over x. Keep in mind, I cannot divide out the x's here. You can divide out common factors, but you cannot divide out common terms. This is my final answer. Okay, so let's scroll down the page. Now, for number 2, I just want to show a basic complex fraction, and especially what I can do with that x. So know that I can rewrite this as 5/4 divided by x over 1, right? I can write anything over 1. Well, you're very familiar with this. And thanks to the previous problem, we know what to do with division. We multiply by the reciprocal. And now what do? You multiply straight across. Okay. This concept, that x being on the bottom, will help us when we do the difference quotient later on in the course. Okay. Okay. The other one I want to do for this particular video, okay, is to do this subtraction problem. Now remember, when you add or subtract fractions, you need a least common denominator. So you need to have common factors. Notice there are no common factors here. Yes, common terms, but no common factors. So the LCD for this particular problem is going to be x plus h plus 1 times x plus 1. Okay? Now, what does that mean? This is going to be my new denominator for each fraction. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite and I'm going to rewrite. Okay. Now, take a look at each original denominator compared to the new denominators. For the left fraction, what factor am I missing in that denominator that is in my LCD? Well, in this particular case, it is going to be x plus 1. So I'm going to put 3x, and in a different color, show that I'm going to be multiplying the top by x plus 1. Now, take a look at the second denominator. What factor is missing in that denominator that's in the LCD? Well, already contains a factor of x plus 1. It's missing the factor of x plus h plus 1. Okay? So I'll rewrite 3x. Since I've multiplied the denominator for this by x plus h plus 1, I must multiply the top by x plus h plus 1. Okay, so now from here then I need to multiply. Okay, well, when I take 3x times a quantity x plus 1, that's 3x squared plus 3x. Now, keep in mind, you are really, for the second part, distributing a negative 3x. Okay, so when I distribute this, that's minus 3x squared. Here it's minus 3xh. And here it's minus 3x, all over the same denominator. Now, what can I do? I can subtract out common factors. Okay? Notice 3x squared and minus 3x squared is 0. So what I will do is I will show that these subtract out. Well, what else subtracts out? Well, we know that the 3x's subtract out. Notice I'm not using the word canceling because I don't know what that means per se, but I do know what it means to subtract out terms. They end up being 0. So rewrite. Now, if you want to multiply out the denominator, that's perfectly fine. In this particular example, I will not do that. Okay? But we are done here. Okay? And this is the end of the first review session.